A legal expert came to Jesus with a question. Not an honest question, a trap. "Teacher, what must I do to inherit eternal life?" And Jesus answered with another question, and the expert answered correctly. Love God and love your neighbor. But then came the real question. And who is my neighbor? Luke 10:29. It is the oldest question that exists. The one we have all asked in one form or another. The one we use to define how far our responsibility toward others goes. To decide who deserves our love and who doesn't. And Jesus didn't answer with a definition. He answered with a story. Because some truths don't fit in a definition, only in a story that breaks your heart and forces you to look in the mirror. This is that story. A man was going down from Jerusalem to Jericho. That road was well known in Jesus' time. It was dangerous, narrow, full of curves and rocks where thieves hid. They called it the Road of Blood. And that day, the fear became reality. He fell into the hands of robbers. They stripped him, beat him, and left him half dead on the road. Luke 10:30. And there he lay, alone, without strength to get up, without anyone to see him. On a road everyone knew, but few dared to travel alone. There is something in that image we all recognize, because we have all been on that road at some point. Not necessarily a physical road, but that place in life where you end up on the ground, without strength, hurt by something or someone, waiting for someone to stop. And sometimes, no one stops, or at least, the ones you expected to stop pass by. A priest came along, God's representative on earth, the one who should embody the love he preaches, the one who knows the law better than anyone. And when he saw the injured man, he passed by on the other side. Luke 10:31. Then a Levite came by, a temple assistant, a religious man, someone well acquainted with the scriptures, and he also passed by. Luke 10:32. It doesn't say they were evil. It doesn't say they were hypocrites. Maybe they were in a hurry. Maybe they were afraid. Maybe they had a perfectly reasonable excuse, but they passed by. And here is something painful to recognize, because it is very easy to pass by when you have a good reason to. When you are running late for something important, when you have already given enough today, when someone else's problem is too large for your time or resources. The priest and the Levite were not monsters. They were busy people with important things to do, like us. But then a Samaritan came along, and here Jesus did something no one expected. Samaritans and Jews hated each other. Centuries of history, conflicts, mutual contempt. A Jew didn't speak to a Samaritan. A Samaritan didn't help a Jew. The rules were clear, and the Samaritan ignored them all. Luke 10:33. But a Samaritan, as he traveled, came where the man was, and when he saw him, he took pity on him. He took pity on him, not moved by obligation, not moved by the law, not moved because anyone was watching, moved by what he saw, by the real condition of a human being lying injured on the road. And that stopped him. Real love doesn't wait for the person who is suffering to belong to your group, doesn't wait for them to be your race, your religion, your ideology, your country. It just sees someone who needs help and stops. The Samaritan didn't just stop. He acted. He went to him, bandaged his wounds, poured oil and wine on them, put him on his own donkey, brought him to an inn, took care of him. Luke 10:34. Each one of those verbs carries enormous weight. He went to him when it was safer to keep his distance, bandaged when it was easier to let someone else do it, poured oil and wine, using his own resources, put him on his donkey, which means the Samaritan walked on foot, took care of him, didn't leave him in someone else's hands and walk away. Real love is not a feeling. It is a series of decisions that cost something. It costs time. It costs resources. It costs comfort. It costs walking on foot when you could be riding. The Samaritan didn't love in word. He loved with concrete actions that cost him something real. That is what Jesus calls love for your neighbor. The oil and the wine were not just medicines of the time. They had a deeper meaning. The wine cleaned the wounds. The oil soothed and protected them. Together, they were everything the injured man needed to heal. And the Samaritan was carrying them with him. Not because he knew he would find someone injured, but because they were part of what he carried on his journey. That says something about genuine love. It is not just acting when the emergency arises. It is living in a way that keeps you ready to give when someone needs it. Carrying oil and wine on your journey means living with open eyes, with available hands, with a heart ready to be moved. What are you carrying on your journey today? Do you have something to give when someone needs it? Love doesn't improvise. It prepares. It cultivates. It carries itself along every day. The Samaritan didn't just care for the injured man that night. The next day he took out 2 denarii and gave them to the innkeeper and said, "Look after him, and when I return, I will reimburse you for any extra expense you may have." Luke 10:35. That is what separates real love from momentary compassion. Momentary compassion is moved in the moment and then moves on. It is a feeling that lasts as long as the emotion does. Real love makes arrangements. It commits. It leaves resources. It promises to return. The Samaritan didn't know how much the injured man's recovery would cost. He didn't set limits. He didn't say, "This is where my responsibility ends." He said, "Whatever it costs, I will pay it." How many times do we stay at momentary compassion because real love would cost us too much? Love that costs nothing rarely changes anything. Jesus finished the story and asked the legal expert, "Which of these 3 do you think was a neighbor to the man who fell into the hands of robbers?" And the expert answered, "The one who had mercy on him." Luke 10:36-37. He couldn't say the Samaritan. Centuries of hatred wouldn't let him pronounce that word. But he knew the answer. And Jesus said, "Go and do likewise." Notice what Jesus did here. The expert asked, "Who is my neighbor?" wanting to define the limits of his responsibility. Jesus turned the question around. Don't ask who deserves your help. Ask whether you are being the neighbor someone needs. Your neighbor is not a category of people who qualify for your love. It is the role you decide to play in the life of whoever is injured in front of you. Today, someone on your path needs a Samaritan. Will it be you? We live in a world of priests and Levites, not because we are evil, but because we are busy, because we are in a hurry, because someone else's problem seems too big for our time, because screens show us so much suffering that we stop seeing it, because endless scrolling has numbed us to real pain, and there are people lying on the road every day, not on roads to Jericho, in offices, in families, in friend groups, in neighborhoods, in faith communities, injured people waiting for someone to stop, for someone to truly see them, for someone to use their oil and wine. The world has enough people passing by with good reasons. What it lacks are Samaritans, people who are moved to compassion even when it isn't convenient, even when it costs, even when the injured person isn't from their group, even when no one is watching. When was the last time you truly stopped for someone? You don't have to cross the world to be the Samaritan. The road to Jericho is in your everyday life. It might be the coworker who has looked weighed down for weeks and no one has asked why. It might be the family member everyone has stopped talking to because they are complicated. It might be the neighbor who lives alone and no one visits. It might be the stranger who looks lost and everyone avoids making eye contact with. Being the Samaritan doesn't require extraordinary resources. It requires open eyes, an available heart, the willingness to stop when everything in you says, keep going. The oil and wine you need, you already have. Your time, your listening, your presence, your word at the right moment. That is enough to change someone's day, to change their week, to change perhaps the course of their story. Love for your neighbor is not an elevated feeling. It is the decision to cross the street toward the one who is injured when it would be easier to keep walking on the other side. Jesus ended the story with 3 words: go and do likewise. Luke 10:37. Not think about doing likewise. Not feel compassion for the wounded of the world. Go and do. Action, movement, concrete decision. There is someone on your path today who is injured, who is waiting for someone to stop, who has watched too many people pass by already, and you can be the one who stops. Not because you have everything you need, not because it is convenient, not because it is your responsibility according to the rules, but because you saw someone injured on the road and were moved to compassion and decided that was enough reason to stop. The world doesn't need more definitions of who the neighbor is. It needs more Samaritans. Go and do likewise.